Ah, Super Metroid, a game that single-handedly caused an entire generation of gamers to dread their local alien zoo. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, this 16-bit masterpiece was a blend of action, exploration, and an existential fear of getting lost in caves. The premise? Bounty hunter Samus Aran must recover the stolen baby Metroid, a gooey space jellyfish with a penchant for latching onto faces like a clingy toddler. But hey, at least Samus doesn't have to change its diaper. This isn't Shakespeare, but it doesn't need to be. At its core, Super Metroid has a storyline that even your dog could follow. Metroid stolen, get it back. The minimalist storytelling allows for player-driven narrative discovery, giving you the freedom to ask yourself deep philosophical questions like, why does every alien world have so many conveniently placed missiles? And who designs these absurdly complex underground bases? Ah, Zebes, the planet that feels like an intergalactic fixer-upper. It's a hostile, inhospitable rock, perfect for evil space pirates and oversized insects, but probably not the best vacation destination. The planet's layout is a twisted labyrinth, ideal for getting lost and muttering, "I've been here before, I think." With its various regions like Brinstar, Norfair, and Meridia, Zebes offers every possible way to die in discomfort. Samus Aran may be one of the most iconic protagonists in gaming, but she's also one of the quietest. No monologues, no sassy one-liners. In fact, the only sounds she makes are when her suit powers up or when she gets slapped around by Ridley. But that's okay. Samus lets her arm cannon do the talking, which is basically the intergalactic equivalent of saying, "I'll see myself out," after blowing everything up. Super Metroid has an armory of power-ups that will make you wonder why the Galactic Federation hasn't invested in a few more Samus power suits. From the iconic Morph Ball, which lets you curl up into a tiny metal roly-poly, to the Screw Attack, where you become a literal spinning death blade, this game has everything. Collecting power-ups is like being at a space-themed yard sale, except the merchandise is designed to help you obliterate extraterrestrial threats. Let's be honest, Super Metroid's map system feels like it was created by a drunk cartographer who thinks straight lines are for cowards. It's filled with gaps, strange loops, and secret passages, all but ensuring you'll never know exactly where you are. But that's just part of the charm. Getting lost in Zebes feels less like an accident and more like a cosmic rite of passage. Just when you got the hang of it, surprise, you're back at the same elevator for the 15th time. So Ridley is a space dragon who has made it his personal mission to ruin Samus's day. Every time you think you finally defeated this guy, he pops up like an unwanted house guest who refuses to leave. His battles are legendary, not only because of the challenge, but also because you have to wonder, what exactly did Samus do to make this guy so mad? Did she take the last space burrito in the break room? Super Metroid doesn't just give you boss fights, it gives you existential crisis. Whether it's the towering Kraid, who is basically a walking skyscraper of spikes, or Dragon, the creepy space shrimp that just wants a hug, a fatal one, but still, every boss encounter leaves a mark. The highlight, of course, is the final showdown with Mother Brain, which is less of a boss fight and more of a galactic custody battle over the fate of the baby Metroid. And for the truly adventurous, and even crazy players, there's sequence breaking, which is skipping parts of the intended progression through clever uses of glitches and skill. Want to fight Ridley before you're supposed to? Sure, go ahead, but don't come crying to me when you're incinerated. Sequence breaking in Super Metroid is like sneaking into a movie halfway through and then complaining that the plot doesn't make any sense. So let's talk about the music. From the eerie, haunting melodies of Criteria to the fantastic beats of Norfair, Super Metroid has a soundtrack that's both epic and unsettling. The music sets the tone perfectly, making you feel like you're simultaneously the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter and a trespasser in a place that wants you dead. By the time you've reached the final area, the soundtrack practically dares you not to break out into a nervous sweat. Here, have a listen for yourself. Let's take a moment to appreciate the Morph Ball, the most illogical yet fantastic power-up in video game history. Samus can roll herself into a tiny ball and navigate small tunnels, defying the laws of physics and personal comfort. I mean, who came up with this idea? Were the developers watching an armadillo on Fast Forward and thought, yes, let's make that a thing? Missiles in Super Metroid are like the game's way of saying, you're going to need a bigger gun. From opening doors to blasting enemies into space dust, these bad boys are a key part of Samus's arsenal. Just don't run out, or you'll find yourself firing regular shots at a door for 5 minutes, slowly realizing how underprepared you are for the harsh realities of space piracy. The speed booster lets Samus run faster than any human or space bounty hunter should. It's the gaming equivalent of giving a toddler a sugar rush. But more than just letting you zoom across the screen, the speed booster introduces one of the most satisfying mechanics in the game, the Shine Spark. It's like being a human comet, smashing through walls and enemies alike. But beware, because when you use it, you use a little bit of health as well. Wall jumping in Super Metroid is the gaming equivalent of learning to parallel park. Simple in theory, but maddening in practice. The timing is so precise that mastering it feels like a rite of passage, a trial designed to test the mettle of the player. Fail, and you could be stuck in a pit for hours. Succeed, and you'll probably wake up your neighbors with your victory shout. The space pirates in Super Metroid are arguably the worst employees in the galaxy. They're supposed to guard the planet and the stolen Metroid, yet most of them spend their time aimlessly wandering around corridors, occasionally hopping in place. If space piracy doesn't work out, they'd make excellent mall security guards. Save stations in Super Metroid are like finding an oasis in the desert, except this desert is filled with acid lakes, spikes, and hostile creatures. These stations are your only reprieve from the constant danger, and reaching one after a tough boss fight feels like coming home after a long, perilous journey. They should come with free snacks and a blanket, honestly. Despite being the cause of all the chaos, the baby Metroid is oddly enduring. Sure, it's a dangerous life-sucking organism, but it's also kinda cute. In a please don't attach yourself to my face kind of way. When it sacrifices itself in the end to save Samus, you can't help but feel a little emotional. It's like losing a pet jellyfish that never quite understood personal boundaries. No Metroid game would be complete without a last-minute escape sequence, and Super Metroid delivers. After defeating Mother Brain, Samus has to escape the planet in a nerve-wracking countdown sequence, because apparently everything in the galaxy is wired to explode on a timer. It's a thrilling, heart-pounding finale that makes you question why Samus doesn't invest in a personal spaceship with faster engines. At the end of the game, if you finish fast enough, Samus removes her helmet, revealing that, gasp, she's a woman. While this was already revealed in previous games, it was still a surprise to many players at the time. The twist not only cemented Samus as a gaming icon, but also as a trailblazer for female protagonists in an industry that often lacked them. Decades after its release, Super Metroid remains one of the most beloved and influential games of all time. Its mix of exploration, atmosphere, and action laid the groundwork for an entire genre, Metroidvania. So the next time you find yourself lost in a cave, under attack by space pirates, or wondering where all your missiles went, just remember, it's all part of the magic that makes Super Metroid a timeless classic. Super Metroid was always one of my favorite games, so making this video is particularly fun. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. Let me know your favorite parts of Super Metroid down in the comments, and if you've never played the game, why not? Anyways, this is John from John Does Game Dev. See you in the next one. Later.